Hello, Lulu. Guess who's coming to dinner? Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I stopped saying welcome. It's Happy Monday because then I show this again on Fridays so that you won't get confused. Just checking to see how you're doing. Anyway, welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Had a lot of things going on over the weekend in our fair city. We had the mass shooting last week, and over the weekend, it seems that we got some bad actors that are running amok down in the parks. They only mentioned Chickasaw, but one of my church members mentioned that he was in Shawnee Park, and there was also an incident down there. But they're trying to figure out how we can stop some of the violence and with the guns in our community. And one thing I truly believe is that parents know if their children have guns. You know, we talk about starting them pre-K to middle school, and but we don't mention much about the parents. Now, it's going to become a law. I'm just making this prediction. Anytime you have so many children killing other children, somebody has to pay. You know, if they're 14 or if they're 13, and it's going to end up being parents. They're going to be paying for funerals. They're going to be paying for damages. You know, so parents need to start. That's who needs to buckle down on the kids. Because, see, a lot of things of what's going on behind closed doors, all the programs in the community can't stop what's happening behind your closed doors. We can't help you. If you've got a child that's a bad actor, we cannot help your child unless you say something. Parents are starting to have to get involved with this problem. You can't just say, somebody tell who it was. You know, they talk about the whole snitch thing. That's ludicrous to me. But you have to, you know, it has to be some part where you take accountability, not just when it happens to your family, because some people know what happened to some other people's children who got killed and have never said anything. So don't make it just your problem when it happens to you. Because now it looks like we can't go to the grocery store, we can't go to the filling station, we can't go to the park. Give me a break. You know who the bad actors are. You know if your child's in the game. We're going to have to use everyone, all the programs. Naturally, we're going to need the police's help, but they come after it's over. No more red dots. I know they're out in the street. I saw Dr. Eddie Woods today on TV. And I think one of the gentlemen that was a victim of the gunfire over the weekend worked with his group. And I am heartbroken about that happening. Someone who is affiliated with an organization that is trying to stop the beefs before they go any further. Because it's like if a child thinks someone else is after them, then they're going to make sure that they try to get to that person first. So we got to stop. Parents got to intervene. They got to bring them together, sit down, squash the beefs. They have to be stopped. And it has to be some parents that get involved in their children's lives. You can't be, upset when you know your child left your house and the child took the gun with them because so-and-so said something to them that they didn't like. But maybe you couldn't stop them because we have some children that are unmanageable. That's a nice way to put it. I used to be a protective services officer when I lived in Las Vegas, and that's what I worked with, unmanageable and abused children. So, but some of these problems are happening behind closed doors. where, organizations and social workers and uh, different people that want to help all this prevention. You can't get behind that when they go home. They go behind their door. Some folks behind those doors knows what's going on. So, when they sit down and talk about, now they're talking about the people that are perpetrating the crimes are the ones that they need to talk to. I just want to see that meeting when you think you're going to get them kids in the room to sit down and tell you anything. You might be able to get the parents to come to the table if they've had enough. But when do they have enough? They only have enough when it's their child. Okay. That's my rant for the day. But we got to find a way to make it better. And Louisville's not the only city that is happening in. So pray for our city. Pray for our youth. They don't believe they're going to live past 18 years old. And if they think someone's coming to get them, they're going to get that person first. It's a sad state of affairs. But I think it's time to get some parents involved. I don't think we have viable PTAs anymore. So, but I think we need to have a town hall meeting with parents of young middle school, even elementary school children, to talk about the gun situation. Got to get behind those doors. So let's go to what we are here to talk about this evening. This is a dinner time conversation. When I started this program, I was supposed to thought I was going to have people sitting at the dinner table and we'd be eating dinner with a chef from the city and be talking about the problems in our community and talking about some solutions. Well, COVID took over that. So my connection with my audience has been to have the conversation at dinner time. Thus, guess who's coming to dinner? And tonight we have a young man who's an entrepreneur. Black folks, we some tough entrepreneurs. We can come up with something and ideas to make things work, to add to our community. But this evening, I want you to meet Mr. Theron Mackey. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Miss Janice? Thank you for the invitation. And, we've come a long way from when you and I met a few weeks ago. And
Yes.
said, let's get together and do something special. And I really appreciate you inviting me and allowing me to share my platform and talk about some of those community issues and how we can jointly work together. Not
Yeah.
only you and
Well,
I, but
that's what it's all about. You sounded like your company is a company that we need.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because you're offering to teach them how to do some things for some industries that are coming into the city. I'm gonna go backwards. So I'm gonna start with your business first. Tell us about Cinq Tech Staffing Services.
Yeah, so Cinq Tech Staffing Services, or CTSS, we're a workforce development company. Despite having just staffing in our name, we look at the end-to-end workforce development, right? And that starts in the home. It starts with an individual that's looking to better themselves, whether it's the parent, whether it's the child, and
Mhm.
it's partnering with companies that are looking for talent to do the things that are needed to make their company successful, right?
Mhm.
So not only do we do job placement, recruiting, but we also have a curriculum that we develop specifically for individuals for professional development that's looking to better themselves. Now, it's not an accredited college, but it's information that is needed to be successful in the workplace, right? So 71 to 72 courses that are currently released on an online platform. We also work with companies within specific industries to understand their culture and their needs to develop training specific to them to bridge the gap between the individual that's looking to enter into a workforce as well as the company that's looking to welcome that individual into their company, because it has to be a match, right? And I think so
Right.
often what we forget is that we qualify individuals without qualifying the company to be ready for that type of individual that's applying for the job. So our reach goes into companies and help them build a culture, build a curriculum, build the orientation that's needed to make sure that their staff from CEO down is ready for the type of individual that are now available in the workforce, right? Because it's changed since the pandemic. It
So
really,
let me ask you, when you say ready for what type of individual are you speaking of specifically?
we look for anyone that has the desire to better themselves through employment or through education. We do not turn our door or close our door to anyone, whether it be a citizen that's looking to re-enter into the workforce because they had trouble in the past, to someone that just came out of college that's looking for an internship. We welcome all. And a lot of times I'll get asked, for what type of jobs do you recruit for? Um, I have the confidence that if there's a job to be had, we could find somebody for that job. So we don't specify in any specific industry as far as who we recruit for. We look for individuals and match them to companies that are needing the work that they can provide.
Okay, so let me see if I can put this together because it sounds like something that I think I've had experience with before. So people that are out of work, they could be coming back into the community after they may have had us after rehab or
Absolutely.
after a prison stint or
Absolutely.
out of college and can't find that job that they majored in.
Absolutely.
So what you do is what happens is they come to see you and you kind of interview them to find out what it is, where they need, where they fit in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
guide them from there.
Yes, my staff, I have a staff of 7 people that work within our office in J-Town. And then we have another staff that's working out of our location in New Albany. So we have 2 locations. One is in J-Town and one is in New Albany, Indiana.
Okay.
And what we do is an intake. So if you walk into our office and you're asking for a job, we sit down and we work with you and understand what it is that you're looking for.
Mhm.
But we also have our business development and sales team that goes out and recruit companies or speak with companies to understand what type of individual are you looking for, and what is the culture that you're going to bring those individuals into, and how can we help you ensure that you get the right type of person that's needed to grow your company and allow you to hit the goals that you've put in place. Yes.
Mhm. So when you say the culture, what do you mean the culture? What kind of atmosphere? Or they can work from home? They got to come to the office. They're out in the field. Is that what you mean by the culture that they're gonna
Well, I think
for the person?
that's part of it, but it goes a lot deeper than that, right? So we are in a
Okay.
DEI society right now where diversity and inclusion is a big forefront issue that we are battling every single day with
Right.
employers. And working with specific employers that traditionally does not see a diversified individual that comes into their door,
Hmm.
whether it be an African American or Hispanic or Latin American, anyone that not traditionally familiar with the company's makeup, right? To be
Hmm.
quite
Hmm.
honest, we need to make sure that they're ready. And the
Okay.
culture has to be welcoming, because it does no good to qualify an individual, whether it's through a university or a vocational tech training or through a
Hmm.
curriculum that prepares a person. It does no good to prepare them if they're going to go into an environment that they're not feeling welcome in, right? And that welcome has to be felt from the CEO down. And they need to
Okay.
understand that, you know, traditional individuals that they would consider interviewing for types of roles that they have in the organization, they need to understand that those individuals, after the pandemic, we don't know where they went. And I'll be quite honest, we don't know what happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we have to now create a new workforce. And everyone has to be included to ensure that the economy is going to have the workers that are needed to push these companies to the forefront of where they need to be. So they have to do their part, as well as the individual at home or the student or the parent has to do their part to get ready. It's a true partnership.
Yeah. I noticed. I was watching on. I guess it was. I watch a lot of Soul Dad. Matter of fact, and they were talking about the 4-day work week.
Mm,
And I understand what you're saying. After the pandemic, everything had to be reevaluated in the
yes, ma'am.
workforce.
Yes, ma'am.
The fact that and for us being Black folks, uh, the diversity that companies need. Sometimes they don't look at us because they don't think we know, especially in the tech industry.
Hmm.
And then there are some jobs that uh, Now I think our kids are learning to code in school.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All those types of things. Anything that's got to do with technology, that I think our kids are being prepared for that, and then maybe they're not. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that that tech space is a really um, great space to be in for a
Mhm.
young person, right? I
Okay.
mean, everything is gravitating towards tech and artificial intelligence, and you know, a
That
lot.
AI is scary.
Yes, ma'am. And a lot of things that traditionally were done in offices or in factories can be done from behind a computer screen with a type board, a keyboard, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's a space for us in the tech world. And I think, being flexible as an employer, even I had to, adapt to, the new workforce or the new work environment where my team, we work Monday through Thursday and Friday
Okay.
is a float day, right? So it's
Okay.
float in the sense that you can come in office or you can work from home, right? So
Okay.
it's a remote day. Our office that we opened in J-Town was simply on the premise that I needed to get everyone back in office because we were growing and I needed to get in an office to where we can really grow and build some synergies. But I wanted it to be felt as if it was a work from home type of environment. So if you
Hmm.
come in my office space, you will see couches, you will see workspace created, not your traditional cubicles,
Right.
because the younger generation and the younger workforce want to feel the freedom of being able to come and work from wherever it is that they can place their laptop. Or
Right.
I have a young lady that she does the majority of her work from a cell phone, right? Took a little time for me to get used to it, but
Yeah.
she is very effective, right?
Yeah.
So, I preach that, employers have to be welcoming to new ideas and they have to be welcoming to a new generation. I had to humble myself, being traditionally working in a office environment for 25 years, getting up every day, going into work and seeing certain things the way that I've been conditioned.
Right.
Um,
It is
now,
conditioning.
yeah, I've been conditioned
We've
now.
been conditioned to work a certain
Yes,
way.
and we have to recondition ourselves
Yeah.
to, get the most out of that individual that you have in front of you, because it is so hard to find good people. So, as employers, we have to adapt our styles to align to the individual that is coming in the door looking for employment and train them to what we need them to be, because they may not come in as what you want them to be, but you have to be able to train and condition to them to what you want them to be, and at the same time give them some creativity and some freedoms to show you what they can
Right.
do, because there's a lot of talented young people out there that if given the opportunity they can do the right thing.
Right. Exactly. I think a lot of it, the conditioning that we're looking at now, as far as having to pivot, not only is it the workforce development, but it's some social skills that they need,
Yes.
that you can find in a new atmosphere.
Yes.
Because I think when I think about that, I think about um, out in Silicon Valley, where Google has these spaces where they might be in the gym, or they might be in the
Yes.
cafeteria, or they're outside in a garden, or there's some place that makes them feel safe and comfortable when they come to work. They come to work on their scooters.
Yes, I've saw that. Yeah, yeah, I've
Yeah.
saw that. And some time spent in Silicon Valley, with companies that they have true freedoms of reign for their employees. They allow them to work from anywhere on the campus, right?
Right.
Wi-Fi has blessed us with the fact, via the internet, that we can connect to the world from anywhere, where we can pick up a signal on any device that we have in our hands or in our laps, or even in our car.
Right.
So for an employer to not take advantage of that and give that employee the freedoms to do the things that they need to do from anywhere that they can get it done, then
Right.
we're missing the point of technology, right? And
Because technology, it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, it is. It's not so much uh, the amount of time that you put in, like those 8 hours. I know I had a job once. I told my last job I really only had one real job that lasted for over 2 or 3 years. I worked at a radio station,
Hmm.
and I lived in a part of the city. I guess maybe I was before my time, but I lived in a part of the city that I asked after I was given the job to be the development director. And I said, "So what time do I have to be to work?" And the boss looked at me and he said, "Well, what time do you want to come to work?" I said, "Well, this is what I want to say to you." I said, "The freeway that I had to take to get, I'm in Las Vegas." I said, they drive like cowboys and Indians, right? I said, by the time I get to work, somebody done tried to run me off the road. I'm going to have to sit down and have me a cup of coffee and calm down for an hour before I can start to do anything. So I said, if I'm here by 10 and I work all day, you want productivity out of your worker.
Right.
If I'm finished with all my work at 3, 4 o'clock, I'm going home. I said, but I'm going to work. All while I'm there, I
Right.
will work. And we made that agreement with each other. And I produced just like I said I would. And he was all right with my production. But that's kind of where we are now, that you got to kind of
Yeah.
map it out to make it work and fit into someone's lifestyle instead of the workforce, them fitting into the work lifestyle.
The workforce has to,
Okay.
be welcoming to those individuals and the lifestyle that's been afforded. It's funny that you mentioned that. I had a coworker many years ago that lived in San Francisco. He worked in Silicon Valley, but he lived in San
Mhm.
Francisco, just north of the city, and he would take the A train down. And I said, "How long does it take you to get to work?" And he says, "Oh, about an hour and a half, 2 hours." I said, "And back home?" He says, "Yeah, another hour and a half, 2 hours." I said, "So you're not getting home until, way in the evening, and you're leaving, early AM." And he says, "Well, here's what I do." He says, "I get on the train, and it has internet on the train. For the first 2 hours or the hour and a half that I'm on the train, I'm working. Right. So when I get in the office, I've already worked for an hour and a half, 2 hours." He says, "I spend 4 hours in office, and
Right.
then catch the train
Then
home
he's going back home. Okay.
2 p.m., and I'm home by 5. And I spent the last 2 hours of my day working on a train back home. And that's all
Well,
because of
that's
the internet.
yeah.
And it was completely
And they counted those hours he was on the
on those
train.
hours
Okay.
as part of his workday,
Right.
because he produced and he made the most of his time. And
Yeah,
that's where we are.
it's the quality of your work, not the quantity.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, people want good quality production from their workers. And being that I have my own company, it makes me have to, and when you're an entrepreneur, you have to get up when you don't feel like getting up. I mean, I may not have to get dressed, but if I said I'm going to call somebody at this time or meet somebody, I still have to do those things to make it work.
Yeah.
I still have to put in the work, in essence. You know.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It's a the whole entrepreneurship is a it takes a special individual, to say the least, right? And
Yeah.
you have a lot of folks don't see the sleepless nights or the tough days that you have to put into getting to where you want to be, right?
Right.
And yeah, so it takes a different work ethic and a different type of person. And
Right. So,
so
are there any specific types of jobs that you want my listening audience to know that you can prepare them for, especially our maybe high school seniors or college students, or even like the summer's coming up? Are there any jobs for our youth during the summer that maybe you have access to?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're doing a lot of work with hospitality, a lot of
Okay.
venues that are transitioning themselves from being a traditional, maybe nightlife atmosphere type of space to being a full service restaurant entertainment space, and even evening bar or evening entertainment. We are partnering with companies across the city that are looking for young, energetic youth I found out just this past weekend they do not have to be 18. There's jobs that they can do within the restaurant, albeit they do serve alcohol. Those individuals that are below um, 21 in a day, I believe, cannot handle alcohol, but there's still
Right.
space with them in that venue that they can work during the summer. So there's plenty of opportunities in hotel and hospitality restaurant venues. Um, my start started in technology, and my
Okay.
company started in manufacturing, warehouse logistics, um, technicians on consumer electronic repair, and actually CTSS is partnered and owns another division within the tech space in New Albany where we do consumer electronic repair and logistics, and we're consistently
Okay.
adding staff, and we have partners within the same industry that we cut our teeth with to get into the space that we're in. So, individuals that are looking to get into technology, looking to get into hospitality, looking to get into office management, admin, even working in a nonprofit. We have a partner that they work with um, physically and mentally handicapped or
Mhm.
challenged individuals, and they're looking to add staff. So
Okay.
I tell you that we have partners across pretty much all segments of the workforce. We really do. And
That sounds great.
yeah, and I would encourage anyone that's looking to specifically get in a field, reach out to us. Let us help you. And if we don't have a partner that's hiring in that space, we can go out and find some company that'll be willing to take you on and get you to where you need to be. So don't shy away from anything that you see out there that you may like to do. Come and talk to us. Let us help you.
Because when you said to me, you said I really need to you wanted to really promote the business, and I'm always thinking about, when I think about our children and where they are, and what they need to be doing, and I think about when you say the tech area. Now we've got some kids that are gamers,
Hmm.
and I don't think that they know that that's a skill.
Yeah,
That's a certain skill set to be a gamer,
yeah.
because they can learn how they can design. There's a lot of things that go into that. And do you have access to anything like that for, maybe they might be they like our middle schoolers, where they can practice, or they can go someplace to learn how to develop
Well,
to.
it's electronic art is I mean, it's taken its own since I was playing video games many years ago. I'm gonna age
Mhm.
myself. So there are specific companies that we could help individuals, especially youth, that they will be willing to partner with school systems or the youth to give them those type of skills. I specifically have a partnering company that they work on gaming systems. So the popular
Okay.
gaming systems that our kids are playing, the Nintendo Switch, handheld devices, cell phones that are used for games, iPhones, Xboxes. Um, we're partnered with the tech company, and that's exactly what they do. Right, is
Oh,
they
wow.
do those types of repair configuration. So not only will you learn how to play the games, you'll learn how to fix them. Right. So there's space here for pretty much anyone that's looking to get into the tech space. You can do that here, right here in Louisville. You just need to know where and how to get to that access, and we can help.
I'm I'm typing the company's website again because it disappeared on me, but I think I have it. INT.com. And give me that phone number for the office.
502
Uh-huh. Let me see if I can make this work. Let me see if I got everything right. Bam.
There you go. Look at that.
Look, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I'm going into my third year. Um, and it's always I'm always learning, trying to make a smooth transition from one thing to the other. But I'm the producer, the director, the videographer.
Hey,
But
hey, you're doing a
for
great
those of
job at
you
it.
listening and looking, this is his website, www.cinq, sync like five, techstaffing.com. That's the where you can find the website, and there's the phone number. If you have a child that you're trying to guide and find some resources for them, this is where you go. Make a phone call. And if most of the parents make a phone call, then maybe we could take some of these young youth off the street, and so we can find ways for them to be productive. Um, because our youth are not inspired. I can't understand it, because you find a group, and I can't say all. I'm not going to say all, but some of our youth have not been inspired because of living conditions, circumstances, and a lot of times it starts with poverty.
Yeah.
If they're not going to school, and we've got behavioral problems, and they go to school, and half the teachers are afraid of our children. And but we need to find a way to navigate this, because we're not doing a really good job of it. What do you think?
No, I think, and I was just thinking to myself, and I said, we've seen, maybe not the best of times, but we've seen better times, right?
Oh,
We've
absolutely.
seen better times than what we're experiencing, what we saw over the weekend, what we saw last week, what
Yeah,
we hear on the news and watch on the news every single day. There's
right.
been a better time, right? May not have been the best of times, and I think you know, let's really invest in our youth, but let's not forget the parents, right? Now,
Yeah,
you open your segment up with a really good point. We can't forget about the in the home and the parents, and
right.
you know, we need, and I'm speaking, of my staff and I, we need to get out in the community and do some things. We just released this past weekend a financial literacy curriculum, right? That's available on our learning management platform that you can access through our website. Um, and it's teaching anything from basic credit, basic, banking, all the way to investing.
Those things that we weren't taught.
We were not taught, and we still have not been taught. And
No,
my mission is to get out into our community and give the tools that are needed to ensure that we can be successful and get ourselves in a better position than what we're currently in, and that's poverty, right?
yeah,
And that's what we're seeing in our communities that are stricken with this crime. And let's educate. Where do we need to be? Do we need to be in churches? Do we need to be in youth centers? Do we need to be
right.
in, Jefferson County public school system? Wherever it is we need to be out and reaching people and making sure that they know that they have access to the tools they need to create a better space for themselves.
I don't know if you've been. Have you ever been to the bishop's table?
I have not.
The bishop's table is Bishop Dennis Lyons. Every Friday morning, you hear me? Every Friday morning, 9 a.m. to 10, 1 hour. The community, all different facets of the community come together for breakfast. They
Nice.
talk about either if they've got an event going on, if they've got services for the community, if there's something, the LMPD is there. There's usually someone from Metro government there, um, and all different facets of the community come every Friday. So I think that would be another good place for you to go. Take some literature. Uh,
Absolutely.
I think you've got anywhere from, I'd say, maybe 50 to maybe 75 people. And I'm not talking about they skip a Friday. They do not skip a Friday. They are there. And I think they've been doing this for the past 2 to 3 years. They talk about some of the things that are going on in the community. They welcome first time visitors. They give you a chance to say something. Um, you can pass out business cards. You can talk to people. You network. It's an
Yeah.
early morning networking situation, but I think that might be some place that you might want to go. And let them know about your services, because you never know. Because when people, word of mouth is always one of the best ways
Hmm.
to get information out to the people. And Louisville is very good at having a
That
whole lot of talking going on, and
that we
they
are.
can blow your business up in a heartbeat if you talking to the right people.
Talking to the right people. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
And we have a movement here in Louisville that I honestly feel is going in the right direction. There are some really good community leaders, yourself, that are doing some things to move us forward. And we got a ways to go, right? No one
right.
said that we're there, but there's an
But we
energy.
just have to do the work.
There's an energy, and
Yeah.
I challenge you know, us as a people, right?
Yes.
Black people. Let's
Yes.
get out and find out what it is that each other are doing, right?
Right.
And come together and let's talk
And
about
support each other.
what we're doing and support each other. And, through unity, we could build power and change. And there's so
Absolutely.
much going on in this city, and there's no reason why we can't work together and make a change. And I
Yes.
think it just comes with a willingness to sit down at the table. Maybe it's at the dinner table
Right.
and talk through these challenges and these problems we're having. And there's so many talented people in this city that are doing some really great things. You cannot tell me we cannot make a difference.
Right. We
Uh,
can.
we can make a difference.
So I'm trying to think if there was something coming up. Um, I work a lot. I work with a women's collab group, and there are a lot of different organizations for entrepreneurs. For um, the I went to, well, where we met. Well, that
Mhm.
wasn't the first time I met you. I actually met you the first time at Sponsor for Success
Yes,
when he
yes,
did
I
his
remember
open
that.
house.
Yes.
And but that black professional mixer
Hmm.
that Miss Nikki,
Nikki,
Dr. Nikki
yes,
Lanier does,
let's give her props. Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Outstanding
she's
lady.
all of that.
Yeah,
And I
outstanding.
read her writing a lot. Do you read some of the
I do.
some of her writing on LinkedIn? And I'm saying, wow,
Yep, I do. She is
and
a wonderful.
I have to give her props because she's all that.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that's what we're looking for. Those leaders that know how to guide and speak the language, and that the mixer that she had, I thought I was coming to probably see some folks my age, and then I looked around and I said, oh, but they're not here. But I just had to open myself up to speak to people. I saw a lady standing by herself, and then I said, "Are you by yourself?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let's find a table."
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
you have to be
You have to be
open
open.
enough and
You have to
willing
be
to
open. Yeah.
network.
Yep. You
Just
have
like
to be
you talking to me, I came up to you, but I was talking about the palm room.
right. Right.
What was happening there, and then I think the owner came up because we
Mhm.
found out that there has been some changes
Yeah.
made,
Oh yeah.
and then there was a gentleman who was sitting there, and then he started telling him about that I was a co-founder of the Dirt Bowl. And I was saying, I don't know how we got to the Dirt Bowl, but okay. No. But it's those types of places, that's where we need to be.
Yeah. And and I would be wrong if I didn't give a shout out to the Palm Room. They're one of our partners, and Donnie has a really really good vision and team that he's looking to do some great things in that space. So we're here to help. We're partnered with them to provide training, staffing, HR services, curriculum,
Hmm.
and we're really excited and happy that we're part of the movement that he has a vision for. So we're really excited about that.
Well, from that mixer, the whole month of April have only been the people that I met at the mixer on my show.
Awesome. Yeah, that is awesome.
The first lady that I sat with, she's a senior vice president at the airport
I
over the
saw that
legal
show.
offices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm watching that show. Yes, ma'am.
And then who did I have last week? No, you're the second one. And then I'm having just one of the young men that were there. He was from Chicago. So I thought that was interesting. That I said, you live in Louisville and you stayed, you've been here 7 years from Chicago and staying here. Okay, so what's going on with you? But he went to Kentucky State. He doesn't know that I went to Kentucky State.
Mm,
So he's on next week. So,
awesome.
but it was very interesting that all my guests, and the lady right before I spoke to you after, creative, creative events, um, venue. She's got a venue. She's got a hall big enough for a gala, some office space that she
Nice.
rents out.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Miss Karen Huff.
Okay.
So I have to remember everybody's name. I take my Prevagen every day so to make sure I can remember stuff.
Well, I might need to take some too because I'm the worst person with names. So
Yeah, well,
remember
the
faces.
cards that I had in my hand, I had the only two that I haven't booked yet are Donnie and the
Mhm.
basketball coach,
So McCoy.
McCoy. Yes,
McCoy. So yeah, the owner of the Derby City Distillers, really, really good guy. We're doing some work with them also.
wonderful.
I'll
Wow, that's
bring that team
wonderful.
to the forefront, and we really need to get behind them and support him. He is a outstanding young man, and the team that he's brought into Louisville. I was just at their game last night.
Where
They
do
can
they play their games at Country Day?
at Country Day. Yeah, they have
Okay,
the next game coming up is this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. And then they have 6 remaining games thereafter, all the way through the end of May. And we're looking to, really get the community involved. They're looking for sponsorships. They're just looking for kids to come out and enjoy a great atmosphere. So, Coy and I have connected on a couple of different occasions, and I think we have a really good path forward to help them. Absolutely.
well, look, we doing our thing, huh?
We are.
And if we get two or three more doing the same thing that we're doing,
It
then
doesn't
we
take
grow.
many. Yep, it doesn't take many.
I have to tell you that my mantra is Jerry Maguire was one of my favorite movies. And I tell people all the time, I said, it's not show me the money. It's when Tom Cruise says, help me help you. Help
Exactly.
me so I can help you. And it's perpetual.
Yeah,
If
and you
we do that, we grow.
yeah, and it doesn't take much to give someone the credit that they're deserved, right?
Yes.
And if you know of someone, and I'm not just, speaking to you and I, anyone that's watching this, right? If you know of someone that's doing a good thing, then shout them out at the loudest voice that you have every opportunity that
Right.
you have to do,
Absolutely.
right? And I had did a post not too long ago on one of the social media sites, and not word for word, but it just simply said, I want people in my circle that says my name in a room full of opportunities. And if we all think that
Like
way,
that.
if
Yes.
we think that way, right?
Okay.
You don't always have to get anything back in return, especially, monetary or, cash or money.
Right.
It doesn't have to be about money, right? It's exactly what you said, and it's help somebody.
Right. You
Where
just
it
help somebody because it's going to come back to you.
comes back. It
When
comes
you
back.
get blessed and you bless others, you get more
It
blessings.
comes back. Yep. And I hopefully the days that I have left here is plentiful, and when I'm gone, that's exactly what I want to be remembered by. Is
Yeah.
what did you do to help? What did he do to help people
Help
get to where
somebody.
they need to be, right? And,
Absolutely.
and I'm a firm believer it'll come back twofold. So we just got to do everything we can do to, shout out everyone that that's doing a great thing.
Well, I'm going to stay in touch with you because I've got some things I'm working on with this show to give people exposure, more exposure on a regular basis. So it's some marketing. You need some marketing. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna be your marketing girl. So I'll be in touch. But
Absolutely. I really do
on that
appreciate
note, I want to say thank you so much for being my guest today, and hopefully everybody sees where the website is www.cinqtechstaffing.com.
That's us.
And this is Mr. Theron Mackey.
Thank you
Yes,
so
Mr.
much.
Theron Mackey.
And
And he
Miss,
can he can help guide you and get to where it is you need to go, and you don't even know where you going until you go see him. How
Come
about that?
come see us. Come see us. Give us a call. Visit us
Give him
at
a call.
our J-Town office, 3831 Ruck Regal Parkway, Suite 102. And we're there
So
Monday through
that's you've got an office in J Town and an office in New Albany.
office in New Albany. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. So we look forward to seeing any and everybody that we can help. And Miss Janice, I want to, personally thank you for giving me the platform to come on and not only talk about my business, but talk about our community and talk about what we can do collectively. And
Yes.
I'll look nothing but forward to working with you on any project that we possibly can. If I need to come on the show again, you just let me know.
And if you want to come on the show again, just hit me up and say, Miss Janice, I got something I want to talk about. I got a new program or a new class online or whatever it is. You don't have to wait. You might just have something that you need to tell the audience.
You know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate that, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're such a really wonderful lady, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you, darling. You know what? It's dinner time. Bon appetit. Go have dinner. I'll talk
Yes,
to you
ma'am.
soon.
All right, and you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
All right, take care.
All right. Now that was Mr. Theron Mackey. He has Cinq Tech Staffing Services. It's job development. They can talk to you about what it is, where you're trying to go, what you want to do, and match you up with the right job. I used to do that for Nevada Business Services out in Las Vegas. That's why it was for the children in the summer. We put the children in jobs, summer jobs. We matched them to different employers. But his company is doing great work. He's got an office in J Town. He's got an office in New Albany, and Cinq is Spanish for five. CINQ. Tech Staffing. That's the name of his company. And we're here to help each other. We've got some issues in our city, but we're on the edge of being really, really, really progressive, and plentiful. We have plenty of young entrepreneurs, young Black entrepreneurs, I'd like to say, that have made a new way for themselves since the pandemic, because everything has changed. The workforce has changed. Where you work has changed. How long you work has changed. How much money you get paid has changed. I remember it was what, 750 like 2 years ago. I don't think anybody pays less than $15 now. Just think, all of this happened um, along with the pandemic and how we had to pivot. But also, that's why we have inflation, because see, the big businesses took advantage of the demand and supply. And so one person raised their prices and everybody else raised their prices because they figured, well, they're getting more money, so we can raise our prices. So here we are. That's a part of capitalism. But on that note, it's time for me to have my dinner as well. We will play this show again this Friday, 7 p.m. Will be this conversation that I've had with Mr. Mackey. Join us. And then next Monday, we're having Mr. Joseph Franklin. He's just an entrepreneur that was full of energy and really excited about being in Louisville. So I'm going to see what he has to say. He's probably got something very dynamic because he's getting ready to go to Africa. So he's going to Africa, and I'm getting ready to go talk to my French friends for a while too. So on that note, have a fantastic evening. Be safe. Be thoughtful. And protect yourself. Protect your children. Talk to your children. They might not talk to somebody that may not even be your child. They might need somebody just to say, how you doing today? Because sometimes when we don't check on folks, those are the ones that fall through the cracks. Okay? Bon appetit. Bonsoir. I changed my little thing up here. Good night.